All right. It's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, George Edward Waldrop. George Edward Waldrop is a speaker of soul language. Music, poetry, and visual art are his ways to bring people together. Peacework and social engagement, race relations, and conflict resolution are the attributes of his street artist work and peace activist experience that provide George Waldrop with meaning and purpose in his Longmont, Colorado community. The mindfulness of the experience of relating to the unhoused community members allowed George to relate to most of everyone he encounters on the street, providing a place to talk about art, buy art, and listen to other people's stories and interpretations of his art. Being Peace on Main Street is the artist's website and YouTube channel, which the artist engages with social media, with poetry, visual art, and photography.
Thank you, and welcome. Hello. Okay. So my Being Peace on Main Street is my capstone project. For 2 years, May 2023, up until this semester, I spent every free moment, weather permitting, setting up a pop-up art show in downtown Longmont on Main Street. During setting up these pop-up art shows, I had plenty of time on the street with myself. And I came up with this question. It says, how can one Longmont, Colorado peace activist create a container and provide an environment and create the conditions to carry on peace process and profound peacekeepers and organizers and activists that came before him? So I'm going to provide you with a sound collage. This is a sound collage I made called We Enliven It. Enjoy.
The poet moves forward to that edge, but lives sensibly, through the senses, not because of them. In the early morning, he listens by the window, makes the first utterance, tries to overhear himself say something which in that silence it is impossible to retreat. Makes the first utterance, tries to overhear himself say something which in that silence.
Inside each one of us. This pure consciousness is called by modern physics the unified field. It's at the base of all mind and all matter. And they now say, modern science says, all of matter, everything that is a thing, emerges from this field. And this field has qualities like bliss, intelligence, creativity, universal love, energy. Peace, 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 peace. And it's not the intellectual understanding of this field, but the experiencing of it that does everything. You dive within and transcending, experiencing this field of pure consciousness, and you enliven it, you unfold it, it grows. And the final outcome of this growth of consciousness is called enlightenment. Intuition grows. This field is a field of pure knowingness. You dive in there, you sort of just know how to go. You know how to solve solutions. It's like an ocean of solutions. The enjoyment of the doing, the enjoyment of life grows. Huge. The people look like friends and not like enemies. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing, and it's us, that level of life. We are all one. We're one. There's an ocean of pure, vibrant consciousness inside each one of us. This pure consciousness is called by modern physics the unified field.
Thank you for Thank you for experiencing that with me. Now I would like to present to you the capstone body. That's not mine. Right on.
The winter of 2023 was spent sitting in my record room for 2 months, writing a book of poems to celebrate my wife's life in a book of written words. At a time of great loss, grief, and true sadness. This time in my life was my question. Do I destroy myself? Or do I want to be fully human and get a contemplative education and use mindfulness to get through this part of my life? I chose to live. When I chose life, there was a driving force of nature that celebrated my rugged individualism. Art became what saved me. Thinking now to hold space for a true story, I remembered when the morning came at the end of January 2023. I awoke with a phone call from Sadie, my wife's daughter, that my wife had died on the way to the doctor's appointment in the back of a Medicaid taxi. She died on January 28, 2023, and left me in a world alone, destitute. While she suffocated when her trach clogged in the back of the taxi. She is alive in my life experience and left with all I knew of unconditional love. Sadness is still overwhelming. That day changed my life and made me a better person because I really had to face facts. I lost my job, which was taking care of my wife. I lost my housing. It wasn't an option to stay. And I lost my wife, Tracy, of 9 years. When then that day was realized, I understood what I was going through was grief. And it has a process only unto myself. To this day, I understand how brave I needed to be and how courageous I was to carry on and continue with school and honor her memory by being my best person. Being Peace on Main Street is a product of a pact I made with Tracy to always do for others. Take on the role of a helper and create peace in my life, community, and relationships. I made it clear I would never go back to being a selfish, ignorant, feeding my starving ego kind of person. I decided to study mindfulness and create art that reflects my space hippie baptismal mythology. I decided to love every human being equally and love myself fully. I understand now what I was doing was making myself available to be an instrument of peace and compassion. Taking my art to the street and talking about it like my art teacher said to do if I wanted to understand my art. My quest for equality was now realized. That is when I started going on the street and selling my art. I started talking to people and getting a feel for what it means to be a part of people instead of just being separate from people. From my understanding, life is people and everyone matters because life is precious. Equality, emptiness, loving kindness, and mercy were my mindfulness tools. Being Peace on Main Street was born with the mindfulness of peace work, inclusivity, and hope for a better world where everybody plays a part. Welcome became my one-word invitation because any real conversation includes an invitation. My role as an artist was applied to my community with the understanding community reflects society, and I want a better society, so I need to work with community. So I created a website, YouTube channel, and social media for Being Peace on Main Street to get people involved in my community. My magical idea was to promote that one peaceful person can change all of society. Poetry mixtapes were provided to the community along with wellness practices and healthy human behavior on the street. I embodied the work of Thich Nhat Hanh using bibliomancy to read the teachings daily. When I started to look deeply into people and use my loving kindness powers to relate to the humanness of the public, understanding that if I could lead by example to children and promote goodwill and fellowship in adults, I would be a public figure of peace to honor Tracy. Being peaceful poet and peace activist, I saw a lot of people suffering on the street. I also fell in love with humanity and wanted to relieve the suffering of people just by listening to them. I tried to understand people's thought patterns, and humility was my other tool in the toolbox to understand humanity. People would come to me just to talk about stuff and things and get advice. And I would console them with positivity and kindness. I was a friend to teenagers, young adults, and parents. I would get to know them through their dogs and share with them the wisdom of life experiences, all the while using peace as a platform for meaning and purpose in the lives of people who had never even thought about it. Peace comes from within an individual regardless of their life. Qualities such as tranquility, patience, respect, compassion, kindness, self-control, courage, moderation, forgiveness, equanimity, and the ability to see the big picture that can promote peace in an individual. Understanding that no one can give you inner peace. You need to create that peace within. I am an artist, so I can create peace in my own life by providing it to the public. Also, people need peace as resolution to function in life. Peace is essential to a well-lived, purposeful life. Most people I see are dragging their corpses already defeated by life without a need to awaken a world of the living. I saw this disconnect between haves and have-nots, the sick, lonely, and downtrodden. And on the other side, the ones who live life fully free of society's chains. The mindfulness of interbeing of all people creates the meaning of emptiness in my peace work. Emptiness is equality, which would be a way to understand people's liberation or lack thereof liberation. Thich Nhat Hanh explains the three doors of liberation being emptiness, signlessness, and aimlessness. When I applied this teaching to my street artwork, I became liberated from my old ways of thinking. There was an understanding within me to share this liberation with the world and remove ignorance and selfishness and needless suffering. Again, life is people, and it takes peace to survive in a world of ignorance and selfishness. Society is an extension of us as people. I cannot condemn society as a whole or make it the opposition, but I can write poetry to critique it. The poet is in the service of saying it, whatever it needs to be said at any given time in history. The poet is also responsible for not creating socialist dribble that nobody wants to read. As a poet, I straddle the line by writing the truth of what I observe and witness. On the street, I can articulate in conversation the things that I find sad or trite in the truth about people, along with the glimmers and beauty that street life brings each day. Hundreds of hours sitting on the street in my chair talking to people, I learned that people are amazing. Society is created each day by what parents teach their children. A society is made up of people, their cultures, their values, their lifestyles, and their political and economic conditions. Being peace on Main Street.
Thank you. So I have one more thing. Sorry. I encourage you to dance. I have this AI generated music that I created with my lyrics, and it's called no, it's not We in Live. It's called Handle with Care.
Gentle with yourself today and try to understand. Everything you put into your day will come out at the end. Today will bring self-talk, personal conversations, and holding my own hand. Always open for communications, friendly libations poured on the ground. Evoking deities, making love to your enemies. Collective realities abound. You will speak to the people and give the leftover change to the people. Be present with the people. Be fair with the people. Walk with the Buddha, with the spirits of your ancestors. Careful where you step, handle with care. Whoa, whoa. Handle with care. Whoa, whoa. Be very gentle with yourself today and try to understand. Everything you put into your day will come out at the end. Today will bring self-talk, personal conversations, and holding my own hand. Always open for communications, friendly libations poured on the ground. Evoking deities, making love to your enemies. Collective realities abound. You will speak to the people and give the leftover change to the people. Present with the people. Be fair with the people. Walk with the Buddha, with the spirits of your ancestors. Careful where you step, handle with care.
Thank you to each presenter. It was a blessing to hear from you. Thank you. Being peace on Main Street.
Okay. Well, let's give it up for all of our presenters. Yeah, some really, really beautiful, really profound, really humble, really bold demonstrations of how we can transform ourselves and transform the spaces around us and have an impact on the world. And I really appreciated this image of like the awakening net of genius that we are activating with each class and with the whole kind of alumni network, whether we have a physical home or not, right? There's still that net of people out there. So the net's going to continue. We will be here again next week, 3 to 7 actually, because we'll do the stage walk. And because of that, I'm not going to ask, I usually do an elaborate something at the end, but I am going to ask that all the presenters that present today, if you just come back up on stage, come on. All right, so let's thank all the folks who joined us on Zoom. Zoom folks, if you can see us in this small. Let's give a hand for the faculty who are here. Staff who are here. Students who were not presenters but also showed up, let's give a hand. Alumni. Pack crew. Sound and color. Okay. All right, y'all. We'll do more next week. But for now, just maybe take a moment and tune into your present experience after having released the presentation. It's good enough. It was perfect for the moment that it was. Let me soften our knees a little. Let go of any constriction you got in your core. And if you'd lead us in a bow, I'd ask the room to bow with us. Well done. Thank you all. Hope to see you next week.